Okay, good afternoon. I'm waiting for the presentation to be loaded. And here we go. Okay. So I can't see the right slide. Okay. So good afternoon once again, and thanks for the opportunity to talk here about the experience we have with the use and impact of the ALTE principles of good practice. I will focus on the impact of the principles of good practice on a particular examination, the Czech language certificate examination, and I will also mention the experience we have with the impact on the institution as a whole. So the Czech language certificate examination was developed by the Institute for Language and Preparatory Studies at Charles University, Prague. The exam was audited for the first time in 2009, and as a result of the satisfactory outcome of the audit, Charles University became a full member of ALTE. At present, the exam, the CCE, is offered at A1 to C1 levels, and it consists of subtests in reading, listening, writing, speaking, and at B2 and C1 also of a grammatical lexical subtest. This is just a brief introduction to give you an overview so that the rest of the presentation makes sense to you. And maybe a few words about the Institute, to understand the background and the specialization of the Institution for Language and Preparatory Studies. It should be noted that it has a more than 60-year tradition of teaching Czech, and it offers a wide range of language courses, of methodological courses, and last but not least, a wide range of exams, one of which is the Czech language certificate exam. So as a high-stakes exam, the Czech language certificate exam has an impact on individuals as well as on the institutions and society. And thus we feel a responsibility and obligation to stick to good practice and to strive for quality and fairness. We do so by following an established code of practice in assessment, such as the ALTE principles of good practice and its minimum standards, as already mentioned by Waldek. Valdemar Martyniuk also mentioned that the validity argument for the ALTE audit is built around the 17 ALTE minimum standards. As for the CCE and the ALTE audits and re-audits, most minimal standards were considered good practice during the audits and re-audits, but a few recommendations were provided in the auditor's feedback. And one of the recommendations that considerably affected the work on the CCE between two re-audits concerned the area of test construction in MS4, which you can see quoted on the slide. In MS4, the original decision on the cutoff score of the CCE was a political one and was strongly influenced by the strong tradition. After the first ALTE re-audit, a pilot standard setting was organized. A discussion on the appropriate method followed, and finally the direct consensus method was chosen as the appropriate one. This method is considered to be relatively simple. It does not require large amounts of data from live exams, and it does not work with the complex concept of probability as, for example, the Engels method. So through continuous standard setting, which uses now a modified method of direct consensus, a task bank is being built. This task bank contains reading tasks, listening tasks, and grammar lexical tasks, all with known statistics and content characteristics. And this, making the task bank, makes assembling comparable test versions possible for us. Standard setting for writing followed, and standard setting for speaking is in progress at present. For the productive skills, the body of work method was chosen. So in conclusion, rebuilding the validity argument in MS4 has set us on a way, at the end of which we first revised the exam and re-established the link to the CEFR. Second, found a way to cope with the fixed cutoff score. And third, found a method which allows assembling comparable test versions in reading, listening, grammar lexical tests, despite limited amounts of data, because you can imagine that Czech ranks among less widely taught languages. All the steps mentioned in the previous slide led also to improving further processes related to test development and construction. So, for example, item writer training has changed, as well as the way of assessing the quality of the tasks and their relation to the CEFR levels. Additionally, a new system of providing feedback to item writers was established. Now we are able to use data from the continuous process of standard setting. What we feel was of great importance is the way the members of the team and of the institute as a whole, how they perceive validation, its individual aspects, and how they understand the role and the importance of validation. And there has also been a substantial increase in assessment literacy, not only within the testing team, but consequently within the whole institution. So by subscribing to ALTE principles of good practice, I would say that the Institute of Language and Preparatory Studies brings these principles not only to the CCE, to the exam that was audited, but to other exams and other courses it provides. It also aims to bring these principles to the expert public and to Czech society. Thanks to following the exam qualities set out in the ALTE principles of good practice, the Institute of Language and Preparatory Studies has become a language testing and assessment authority within the Czech Republic, and as a result, an important partner for other universities and for some ministries. So that was just a brief overview, and please, if you have questions, then we can discuss it then separately. Thank you.